What did I just do? Oh no, I messed something
And
up.
we're live. How did you do that?
Oh no.
So
What the heck did I do?
So for YouTube, we just look normal. Well, as normal as we look. We're on the Facebook Live, and Mike Chisholm had it on acid flashback mode.
Is this live right now? Is it?
Yes, it was live in that mode.
But there's no timer or anything.
There's never been a timer on your tablet. Not once.
I'm gonna invite some people to
watch.
Not
once have we had a timer.
Okay, I'm gonna invite some people to watch. I'm
at least 7 times.
Yeah, salient details sometimes just
watch us live as we share things.
Okay.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
Like, why doesn't?
Oh, I can start a watch party on this bad boy too.
See, that's what I want to do. Is I want to a watch party, but it's
watch party.
Okay, podcast. Oh, wait a second. Okay. I think watch party's gonna be an option here. Okay, come on.
Cool. Does it automatically just invite everyone
when you do a watch party?
People? Yeah.
I think what it does is it announces
a watch party. We got 2 people watching.
Watch party. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to. Okay.
We're just getting all the technical things done, which I think we're pretty close as Lee Waters and Kevin Jeffries joins us.
Yay! I like both those guys.
As we just figure out all the technical things.
Oh, there we go.
As we get set up for a show that's all about in a world that's divided by black and white arguments, we are here to explore
the world of gray.
I am Kelowna's Cougar Meat Kid Colin Color.
I am the Flow, Mike Chisholm. Here we are. Here we go. Let us do this right now.
We got a boring chant, but from Jeffries.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Did he leave though?
Oh, probably.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
So today,
boring. All right, we're here. We're doing this.
We're doing it.
I'm
not promising it's going to get less boring, but now we're like focused.
No. It's going to be boring. And here's why it's going to be boring. So tomorrow, which is Monday.
Monday is tomorrow.
The first Monday of June. The first Monday of June, we are actually relaunching our other podcast, the one that's actually like up on iTunes.
Nowcast Kelowna with Chisholm and the Kid.
Nowcast Kelowna with Chisholm and the Kid. And he's the kid.
I'm Kelowna's kid.
He's Kelowna's kid.
The Kelowna kid.
But he's everybody's kid, you know, especially the ladies. Cougar Meat Kid. So we're doing this tomorrow. And so the preparation that we have gone through, normally for the world of gray, has been kind of transferred over to prepping for our podcast on Kelowna Now called Nowcast Kelowna with Chisholm and the Kid. Don't worry, we will. Yeah, it's done. Why, Colin?
No thanks to you.
No thanks to me whatsoever. I'm coming in fresh. This guy is prepped. And there's a good reason for that. Colin, would you tell our viewers what it is that we are going to be doing tomorrow at our podcast at Kelowna Now?
Yes, I can. The Flow, Mike Chisholm.
Okay.
So tomorrow at 4? That doesn't really matter to you.
Doesn't matter to anybody.
Edited and it'll be
other than no. Tomorrow at 4, please send some good energy, some positive energy,
and questions.
And hey, yeah, if you want to send some questions to Mike Chisholm, to the Cougar Meat Kid, Colin Cutler. What are we doing tomorrow at 4?
So I'm pretty excited. We have a very special guest. So the podcast we have, Nowcast with Chisholm and the Kid, this is a podcast by locals, for locals, with locals.
Yeah.
And we really try to highlight all the amazing talent that is in the Okanagan. But usually we have business people, entrepreneurs, and I'm usually the everyday man that doesn't know anything. And I just ask curious questions. And Mike Chisholm is the business expert.
Yeah. And well, I don't know about that, but tomorrow we're flipping the script. I know that.
We're flipping the script. And
we're flipping the script tomorrow.
We will be doing an interview with Big Brother Canada Season 7 winner, Dane Rupert.
Yeah.
Huge Big Brother fan.
I've never watched Big Brother.
He has no idea what's going on. I've auditioned like 90 times.
Yeah.
Have not gotten very far. Got past round 1 once. That was it.
You got past round 1. So what does that mean? What does that mean when what is that? So I know Big Brother is a reality show. I know some people call it like the original reality show.
First rule about Big Brother casting, you're not allowed to talk about Big Brother casting.
Honestly, you can't talk about it?
I'm not sure if I can talk about it now, but I don't want to ruin my chances.
Well, no, you don't want to ruin your chances. We want to enhance your chances.
I know
you will apply again, correct?
When you go through the process, you can't talk about anything.
Really?
Nothing with nobody.
During the process. But after the process, are you allowed to?
Nobody. I have no idea.
So is Dane going to be able to talk to anything? Is Dane going to be able to talk to us about anything tomorrow?
He's done the show and we know he won. Yes, he's allowed to talk.
See, now I'm formulating questions and I'm going to take your questions away. You're going to take away your question time because I'm going to ask him, hey, how can we get this guy on the show? Can you help?
Don't waste time with that, please.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, if I get on the show, I'm going to get on my own volition.
Volition.
Yeah,
it's a good word.
Yeah, I'm that type of person. You
It's
know,
good V word.
It's a better V word than a lot of V words.
Victory through volition.
V trigger. Oh, you know what I do want to talk about?
Yeah.
Just to get away from all this craziness, because we have nothing really to talk about.
So, Big Brother, we'll put a link up to our podcast. Every time in the World of Grey podcast, we'll put a link up to the Colonial podcast as they come out.
And please send questions if you're a Big Brother fan. And I know there's people on my Facebook that are Big Brother fans. Send your questions, and I'm super excited for this. I'm gonna be a Mark, as we say in the business.
You're a Mark,
and I'm gonna be a giant Dane Rupert Mark. I'm probably gonna make an idiot out of myself.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty excited. I don't really get that excited for things.
No, I'm what you mean. That always goes well.
Because even when we have, and I hate to say this, even some of the WWE superstars, like I'm stoked to meet them and I want to learn from them, but I don't really get starstruck or anything.
Very few times.
Because we're in the same field and I just want to learn and blah, blah, blah.
I've never seen you get starstruck. I get more starstruck than you do. Well, I don't get starstruck, but I get more excited than you do.
I don't know if I'll get starstruck with Dane, but I'm pretty excited. It's cool.
It's very cool.
It's different than my wrestling ventures. It's my podcast ventures. It's probably the coolest podcast. With we had the mayor. So don't get me wrong. I love the mayor.
Lisa Marie, Lisa Rettle.
I
she
love
was amazing.
all of our guests. Actually, we could just do this all day because Jared Lee was awesome.
He was.
I mean, they're all awesome.
Darcy Nyros is awesome.
This is kind of in my wheelhouse.
But this is special for you.
What I do want to talk about.
Yes.
2 shows I want to talk about.
All right.
I'm going to get into wrestling a little bit here. That's why I'm wearing my Stone Cold t-shirt that I just got for my birthday. 2 shows. I'm really excited for the world of professional wrestling. If anyone's watched Double or Nothing, so AEW, new show coming out, billionaire backers, big money, big names in the world of professional wrestling. You got the Young Bucks, you got Kenny Omega, you got Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho is in AEW, was in the first main event with Kenny Omega. We now have John Moxley. Ambrose is now, so they had their their first pay-per-view as AEW. Double or Nothing. It was amazing. It had everything you could ask for. The main event was pretty close to perfect. But I will say I watched NXT TakeOver last night, and I always think that there's more you can do in any match, right?
Yes.
I always feel like I don't feel like I've ever had a match that I couldn't critique. Like brutally.
Yeah, you were very hard on yourself.
I'm hard on everyone.
And others.
I'm hard on
you have a very high bar.
Every match.
And sometimes you can kind of get to that bar, and every once in a while someone gets over that bar. But
but it's hard. It's like music. It's very hard to have a perfect song, right? There's songs that'll move you. But to have all the elements fall into place, I feel is a pretty tall tale in professional wrestling, because there's so many little nuances when it comes to professional wrestling.
Yes.
But last night, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. If there is ever such thing as a perfect match, this match was pretty fucking close.
Really?
Yes. Okay. If you haven't seen this match,
go back and watch this match.
Especially, Lee Waters is agreeing with me here. If you look at the way professional wrestling is now, so the new style of professional wrestling, you factor that into this match, it's pretty fucking close to perfect. There was even a few. So the reason why I don't just say these things, right? There's reasons for it. Is there has to be some sort of a story told within a story. So you have the story of the match of the two. They're feuding. It goes back and forth. Adam Cole has been using the Undisputed Era to have the numbers on Johnny Gargano. He doesn't do that in this match. He does most of it. He does all of it himself. He teases them coming out at one point, so he kind of plays psychologically.
Warfare. Yeah.
So I mean, that was brilliant in itself. But within that story, they worked body parts, which for me is everything, and they sold the shit out of these things. Like, it was so brilliant. At one point. And if you haven't watched this match, these are spoiler alerts, so just cover your ears.
And for those who are watching a World of Grey podcast, don't worry, we're not going to talk pro wrestling the whole time.
I'll just
it is psychology within the art of whatever it is that you're doing.
And I actually don't like giving out spoilers, but this one moment, this is where sometimes wrestling just naturally, organically has its moments. Johnny Gargano has an injured knee, and he goes to dive through the ropes. As he is running, he's kind of limping.
Oh, I love that.
On it. Yeah. And as he goes to dive through, he legitimately catches his toes on the second rope, and it starts to drop him right as Adam Cole super case. And you know that the point probably wasn't to catch his toe. but it's just so perfect. It's just those little
It
things.
was a perfect storm.
It's the little things that get me. It's just little things other people probably don't care about. But those matter to me.
But you know what? It's that's what I love about life. Like we live in this life now where everything is filtered and photoshopped and it's got something shiny on top of it, right? I look at that. I think about, we're talking about music.
Yeah.
My favorite thing in the world is when like you're watching a band or a group that you like live on stage and they're not just lip syncing, they're not just, produced 99% and they're just bringing 1% of themselves to the live show. Don't get me wrong, when there's someone who's dancing and doing all these things, that's great. But one of my favorite things is during a live show like that is when a happy little screw up happens. A screw up happens where maybe somebody's hitting the wrong note, but it turns out to be harmony with somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or somebody's hitting a bass line that you normally hit in a song, and then they do something a little different, and they didn't necessarily do it on purpose.
Yeah.
But it enhances the song, and it actually makes the song a little bit different, a little bit more, like that, more of an inspirational moment. It sounds like that's what happened in this match.
And that's what I used to like about old Ric Flair matches, is those little non-perfect moments where they would scramble and actually like wrestle to get back into a hold.
Yes.
And that's why personally I feel like the Ric Flair style can't be replicated anymore.
In wrestling,
because he was just so good at all those little nuances.
Well, and he was allowed. This is where I think AEW is going to change wrestling a little bit. It's going to be a bit of a throwback. Is they're going to let wrestlers kind of do what they want to do rather than overproduce them.
Yes.
Or they've, I shouldn't say overproduce them. I think WWE has been carrying the ball for a long time, and in that they've been trying to figure out the line between how much of this do we actually produce so it is like a movie, and we want everything to go exactly how much spontaneity, how much sheet music, studio music do we have versus how much jazz, and finding the mix between the two, and the idea that wrestlers will be able to kind of do what they want to do and have some creative flow. That is going to really, really be interesting to see what it does to the entire industry.
Well, and competition, I think, breeds creativity. So I think this is important. This is why WWE was so good in the 90s. They had WCW riding their coat or their ass, right?
Yeah.
And
challenging them.
Yeah. And they came up and they had to, start from scratch when they lost other guys. So they had to build The Rock. They had to build Stone Cold Steve Austin. They had to build Mankind.
I had one of those moments today.
Important.
Can I talk about that for a second?
Course.
I had one of those moments today. This morning, just before I left my house. Oh, by the way, and I just Kathy Kemp. Do you know Kathy Kemp?
Yes, I do.
Kemp's? Okay.
Yep.
She had the best comment on the watch party ever. If you get to the show, then I may start to watch it. That's what she said about us this morning.
Get to the show.
If you get to the show, I may
earlier?
watch it. She said that earlier. Yeah. Isn't that great? My favorite comment of any of our podcasts.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. We're getting to the show.
We're trying to get there sooner and sooner.
Unfortunately, for those who are watching it to this point, this is the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, this thing about
she may have just wrote that actually.
No, she didn't. But no. So just before I left the house this morning, my wife is extremely powerful, amazing woman. Super dynamic and all these amazing things. And
how much does she bench?
I don't know.
You said she was powerful.
I don't know. She is powerful, man.
Bet she could bench like 2 plates.
Candace Leg Day Chisholm.
Squat like 4.
Oh, probably. Oh, I'm sure. And so my wife's amazing. And so this morning, we're just kind of talking and visualizing her day a little bit. And I said, yeah, I got to do my podcast. She goes, yeah, I'm doing a podcast today too. I'm like, oh, I forgot. I said, yeah, what podcast is it that you're doing? And she said, the Kelowna podcast. And I was just like, oh, so it's this couple that does it out of their house, and they've got
it's called the Kelowna podcast.
This is that moment. This is that moment where it's like, oh, and so we know that we have a podcast on Kelowna now, which is a superior platform.
Nowcast with Chisholm and the Kid.
Nowcast with Chisholm and the Kid. Tomorrow we got the Big Brother guy on, which is
Nowcast
great.
with Chisholm and the Kid.
On Nowcast with Chisholm and the Kid. See, now it's happening right now with him. But it's like she's going on the Kelowna podcast, and we're like, oh, okay. So to me, it's like the first thing I said out of my mouth when she said that, I said, me and Cutler got to step it up. And she just goes like this. And it's true. Yeah. Like, oh man, okay. Yeah. We got to step it up. And I love that. I love that competition does that, because I've never met these people. They're great people in our informative show. But what I'm saying is when I hear that, it's like, oh, okay. And what it does is it gets rid of that place of settling.
Yeah.
You know, that place of just mediocrity, and it makes you want to actually either step up or run away. And hopefully, you know, we don't run away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna world degrade you a little bit here.
Yeah.
It just for me, all I can do, because I'm still learning all this, right? Like
Mhm.
we are far from professionals. So if this couple is coming in and they're broadcast journalists and they have experience, like there's only so much I can do about that.
It's going to be so amazing to bury them because, you know, now we're the underdogs.
Right?
Always, I heard this quote yesterday and it was just amazing. Always play like you're an underdog.
Yeah, but that's
I
just how,
love that.
that's how I live my
God.
life, right? And all I
Yeah.
can really do is do my best and be genuine. And I'm genuine in everything I do. This is why I have the job I have, because I'm just a genuine person. I actually care about people, and I want to hear about your day and how things are going, and I want to see people improve. And I just genuinely want to get to know people and talk to people. And this is why I do podcasts. I don't do it for the views. I don't do it for money, clearly.
Yeah.
I just do it because
But we're gonna change that. We're gonna do it for the views and the money.
But that's why I have you.
Yeah, that's right.
You get the money. I just do my thing.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just come and do your thing. That way
It's
you're.
hot.
We're in here. We've gone from 6 viewers to 3 viewers live. This is
Damn
great.
it.
We're on it.
I'll start taking my shirt off in the show.
Yeah,
I think
you
that's
should.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah, there
Tell
we
your
go.
friends if we can get to 25 people watching
At one time. Yeah, 25 live.
At 25
25
live. That's it.
live.
All right. The strive for 25 live.
Yeah.
And Colin Cutler will start taking clothes off.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Cutler will take his shirt off at 25 live. I will take my shirt off at 45 live.
105 live. I'll take out more clothes. At 205 live, I'll get naked.
All right, you heard it. You heard it.
Poor Chisholm.
Well, no. Hey, man, it is what it is.
203, 204. Or stuff.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's yeah, I like this. And I think you're saying that because, you know, talk about mediocrity. I think you're saying that because you don't believe that we'll ever have 205 people live watching us at one time.
You know what? I say I don't care about the views. It's because what I mean by that is I'm not going to stop doing this if we don't get the views.
Exactly.
I do want this to be successful. I want to reach as many people as possible. I want to have conversations. And we have some friends watching right now. Jade Roberts, how's it going? He's a longtime World of Grey viewer.
Mhm.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah.
We have very little planned today. So how is everybody? What's new in the world? There's a lot of craziness going on in the world today. It's getting smoky.
You know what? I was in a pool yesterday. So we're as we're
June
broadcasting
2nd.
this, whenever you watch this, probably after the fact, you know, God, hopefully after the fact. Usually we end up with a couple hundred views after the fact.
Yeah, we'll take
So
it.
yeah, we'll take them for sure. Where we're broadcasting this out here is the first Sunday of June. So it's early June. It's June 2nd. And yesterday I had an amazing day. We did we live in the most amazing valley. I did
There he is.
I did some.
Jade.
Oh, there's Jade. Right on.
What up?
What up, Jade? So anyway, yeah, my wife and I with some friends did some wine tours. Went out to the View. Shout out to Jen and Kent Mulgat.
You started with breakfast at White Spot.
We did start. I started at breakfast at White Spot. We saw you along the way. We did an early breakfast.
I'm driving to work because I work Saturdays. I see Chisholm beside me. I'm waving like an idiot. I'm lucky I didn't get in a car accident. So I call him on my car phone, hands-free.
I pay attention.
But it was funny. I'm watching you, and I was like, I swear to God, if you hang up on me right now.
Oh, if I decline? Oh, wouldn't that have been amazing?
Because I'm just watching you.
It would have been, if I would have declined. But I didn't. I immediately, you know, on the rover display, who's calling? Colin Cutler. Immediately, I pick up the phone. Hey, man.
Jared Stalker from Boys and Girl Club has joined us.
Yeah, Jared Stalker. Right on.
Hello, Jared. Anyways, the rest of your day, you're wine touring. I like it.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. Oh, and then Kathy Kemp just said, was it smoky because of fires in Alberta? Oh, my God.
Yes.
She goes, we were hearing it was coming into Washington. Okay. So, anyway, so we go and we do the breakfast. I go to the office for a little while, talk to my associates, my agents, get them excited about building their businesses. And by 11:30, I'm out. And we go, Candy and I go, and we hang out with some friends. We go to some wineries. It was amazing. We went to their house up in East Kelowna with this amazing swimming pool. And we're looking at just this beautiful blue sky above us. And as we're driving out there, seeing the lake below us and taking videos going, oh my God, I can't believe we get to live here full time, 100% of the time. And we're taking advantage of things that people spend thousands of dollars to come here for a week to do. It's just this amazing time of gratefulness. And then someone says, yeah. And I hear Calgary and Edmonton are smoked out already. And I'm just like, oh, because I know what that means. I know what that means. We live in a valley. And Kathy just said the same thing on she just commented here. She's watching on my watch party. Everybody, by the way, who's watching on the watch party, thank you very much. Come over to the World of Grey podcast and like that page. And so every week you'll know when we broadcast there and you can watch it direct there. We will turn on the watch parties, but go ahead and do that. Anyway, so And I was thinking is going to make its way, and it's going to come here at some point. So hopefully we get out of that. What do we got going on here?
Jade said, "There's 204 other people in my house. We are streaming World of Great to the TV. Take it off, Cougar Meat."
That's not true.
Everybody wants me.
We need the little corner there to say live 205. Live 205. Cutler gets
If we
naked.
can get 205 people watching this, that'll be the least amount of money I've ever been given to get naked. To take clothes off.
That's
saying.
right. That's right.
Discount naked Cougar Meat. There's a discount on Cougar Meat. The meat market is open, baby.
There was a point during the wine tours yesterday where I was wearing a black shirt. I've got this cool black shirt, do-up shirt. It brings me joy. I've had it for like 15 years. It's a no fear shirt. Remember no fear?
You need new clothes.
I don't. Man, I'm pretty stylish on
right.
To myself in my own mind anyway. But it has these little flaming guitars as buttons. It's like black and they stainless steel flaming guitars.
It's getting better.
Okay. And they're snaps. How fun is a snap shirt? I mean, a do-up shirt that is a snap shirt is one of those things that's just tremendous. So my friends were all turning around looking at this beautiful winery, and they were all facing me. And just out of nowhere, I just took the shirt and I spread it open. And I just did one of these. I don't know if that's Prince or if that's Bon Jovi or who that is, but I'm just doing this. Maybe Freddie Mercury a little bit. And I'm doing this, and they're laughing, and I'm happy because I got the laugh. Chris Jericho. For sure. So I did that. The snap shirt does that. And so yesterday I kind of, for comedic effect, got 3/4 naked.
There is
but 45 views, I'll take the shirt off. 25 views, he takes the shirt off. So
there is something.
We're up to 4, 21 more, and you're taking your shirt off, buddy.
It's fine with me. I've lost some of my manager weight, so I'm cool with it. I'm not quite full gear ready.
Oh, you got a chant from Kathy Kemp. Take it off. Take it off. Take it off.
But at least she's watching
either
now.
You do or I do. I'm not sure.
You're
Probably
watching now, Kathy. Now
right.
You're watching.
Well, we got to the show. We began the show, and now
the show is just
up to 5.
The show.
20 more.
The show is just
we're down to 4 again.
us talking about me getting naked. That's today's show. Today's show.
We got up to 5, and then someone said, "Wait a second. If there's 20 more, then he takes the shirt."
Now we got 5.
And then I took off. We're back up to 5 again.
Yeah, are we gonna lose people by saying this?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think the problem is to get to 205, we have to get to 45, and you have to take clothes off, so people might.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. Although, you know what I have to do this week? I have to on March 5th, I started this quest about leveling up my just everything in my life. And one
Your
of the things,
life's just a video game, isn't it?
A little bit. And when I view it like a video game, I can understand it more. Yeah, because we're in a simulation. Anyway, that's another podcast. Or a previous podcast, or both.
What? We lost 2 people.
Yeah, just like that. Talking about simulation
Sergio
theory.
is watching. He's one of my favorite people in the world.
Sergio.
Because he's my best friend, so I'm biased. Sergio just bought a new house.
Hmm.
He is having a son coming up in mid-July. Correct me, buddy. But his wife, Alex Cisnato, is ready to pop.
Is it his first son?
Well, he has a daughter.
Yeah, may your second child be a masculine child.
Yes. So they have one of each. So they're probably good now because that's a lot. I don't know. It's your life, though. You do your thing. That's just a lot for me. I don't know. I think by the time you get to 3 kids, you're just outnumbered. That's the problem.
That's right.
That's
and
the
then
thing.
And as they get older, Joe Rogan has a good bit about that. He has a bit about he lives with all women.
Yeah.
And as his daughters grow, he loses power.
and
and I'll never do the bit justice, but he's talking about how, one of his girls will say, "Oh, I like that pink," and she goes, "Yeah, I like that pink too. Oh, I like that pink." And then the wife will come in and say, "I think they're right," and he's like, "Oh, I see what's going on here." And he goes, "It's almost like he has a pile of marbles. Of his masculinity is a pile of marbles, and then every day the girls just come up and they just take one." Right?
That's good.
I know. Oh, his
Good
special,
visual.
the Joe Rogan special. Watch it. It's on Netflix. Fantastic.
Is it like new?
No. That's
I've
just
seen
his latest one.
I still remember it.
But
that's a good bit though.
David Letterman's new.
Yeah,
5 new David Lettermans.
Mhm.
I've watched 2.5 of them so far. I watched
Yeah.
the Kanye West one, which was, I gotta say, fascinating in a lot of ways. The guy feels, but they talked a lot about mental illness, which I appreciated very, very much.
Awesome. Which I think we'll get into a little bit with Dane because he's got some history there and he's been a pretty big advocate. I don't know if you've heard any of his interviews.
A little bit. I've heard that he's an advocate for it, and I've
pretty
heard
big advocate, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
So I'd like to talk a little bit just about more of him wanting to break the stigma, not necessarily about the history of why he's.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad people want to break the stigma of mental illness because mental illness has the equivalence of physical illness. In other words, you think about when you were a kid and you go and you ride your bike and you fall down and you skin your knee, right? And you get road rash,
Mhm.
right? Well, there's mental illness equivalents of road rash. That's there. Maybe it's a time you're going through. Maybe it's just something happening. There's equivalents of that, and then there's also I've got cancer and I'm dying from within inside.
Right.
And there's mental illness equivalents of that as well, right? So I'm glad that this is becoming something that we're talking about more and more in society.
I miss you too, Norm. Used to work with Norm on shows.
Bye, Norm.
On shows, yeah. He's a good
Peace and
dude.
love to Norm.
Yeah. I don't really go out there anymore.
Kathy
Anyway.
says she is Big Brother because she is watching the show.
Kathy, you're clever today. I like you.
Today,
well,
Kathy, in my experience, although I only met her at Cauliflower Alley, Kathy is clever every day.
I'm not. My statement's not wrong.
No, that's true. She's clever today.
I'm just saying. Why'd you gotta call me out on it?
I'm expanding that
Jen's
she's clever.
Vacuuming while we're doing this. You want to talk?
You are living the life, man. You're doing your podcast. You're doing what you want to do, and your girl is vacuuming your house.
But on the other side of that, like talk about expecting mediocrity. She's like, this ain't going anywhere. I'm just gonna vacuum.
Yeah, she's not watching.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Not that. Just like shouldn't care about the sound quality. He's like, that's just that stupid thing he does on Sundays.
Can y'all hear us vacuuming? Can y'all hear vacuuming in the background? We're up to 5 again. No, yeah, we're up to 5 again.
They like the ambiance of vacuuming.
Yeah, man. It's a good background vocals.
Can we get 6? Can I get 6?
Reminder, if we get up to 25 live viewers at one time, 25 viewers at one time, Colin Cutler takes off his shirt.
I feel like I'm a webcam girl just trying to get
45,
coins.
I'll take off. Yeah, trying to get coins. That's right.
Don't ask me how I know that that's a thing.
Okay, so how many viewers will it take for you to take your shirt off and then do that, and then you stick your butt out? And then how many viewers did it take for you to do that?
26.
I was going to say like 9. I was going to say like maybe that's less.
I feel like we already set the standard.
Yo, we set the standard all right. And we sure did. But at the end of the day, no, I'm glad that he is talking about mental illness, that people like that, like Dane Rupert, One Big Brother, we're interviewing him tomorrow. We'll put details about that as soon as we can.
I think that should be next week's podcast.
The rehash
of
mental illness.
I think we should talk about mental illness. We could do a recap of the podcast with Dane.
Yeah.
But I think it might be a nice transition. I think we've talked about it a little bit today, but I always try really hard to advocate to break the stigma of mental health. I've gone through my issues in the past and I've gone through counseling, and I always advocate people to go to counseling. I always try to talk to people. The crazy thing when it comes to depression and anxiety and any mental illness is the more you talk about it, the more you realize everyone goes through it, and
the more you disarm it. Then
correct,
absolutely,
yeah. Because it's scary when you're just in your own head and you don't talk to anybody and you just don't know. And the other thing too is you start to discredit those feelings or think, oh, I shouldn't feel like that way, and you start to, and then it just becomes a spiral of the thought, and then you like taking that thought away and then feeling bad about having the thoughts, and it just becomes a spiral. And then when you start talking to people, you're like, oh shit, like everybody goes through this.
Everybody goes through it.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through it.
It's okay to go through it.
Yep. And you know what? There are more severe cases of it than others in some people, but that's okay. Knowing that we're all in this together and we're going through this together. That's why support groups are so powerful.
Yeah.
And can be, like anything, can be taken advantage. Like you look at mental illness. I think that, and it's okay, this is going to be more like a Colin Cutler statement, but I think that the pharmaceutical companies have actually taken advantage of people who have mental illness and are not talking about it to each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Because what they're doing is they're trying to break through and say, okay, there are some people here who are isolated. So let's sell them a drug.
Well, and this is why a lot of these alternative drugs like medical marijuana and psilocybin mushrooms are lobbied against, right? Because psilocybin, which comes from the recreational drug of mushrooms, has been researched and has had drug trials in labs, and is the only drug to have the long-term effects in one dose. Up to 4 months, these subjects were having positive mental health effects from one dose of psilocybin. And Norm here is saying that mental illness takes on many forms, and sometimes they look normal. And that's so true. Like, I know for me, when I went through my few months of panic attacks and anxiety, and I went through work and I taught classes and nobody knew.
Yep, exactly.
Like, I just went through the day with like this veil on, this mask, where I just like was on autopilot for like 5 months, and I did meetings. I remember having to go back and read emails of meeting notes because I don't even remember the meetings, because I was just like frozen in my own shit.
What's a physical health equivalent of that? The one I came up with is that what if I had and I don't, by the way, especially Candy, just know this. What if I had a lump on my ball? Now I don't have a lump on my ball.
Yeah.
But think about that. Think about if you had a lump on your
That's
ball.
all you'd be thinking about.
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't know if it's all I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about it a lot though. Like, and I've got it. And maybe even I'm in treatment, just like you. You know, maybe you start counseling. Like, you know, you got this mental illness thing, and you're being proactive, and you go through like your first counseling session, but you still got to live your life.
Yeah.
You still got to go to work.
Yeah.
Still got to do all these things, right?
It's tough.
It's like if I had a lump on my ball, and hey, they did the what do they call that? What's the thing where they put the jelly on the thing? Not a bio. Oh God, no! Please don't. Not a biopsy. No, Jesus. What's the thing where they put the jelly on you? They do it for pregnant women.
Yeah.
They put the jelly on you, and then they put the thing on the jelly.
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. Yeah. So they do an ultrasound, but you know you're a week away from finding out the results of that ultrasound. Now, going through that week, guess what? You're going through life. You're going through all
anyone that's ever had a test. I've had medical tests before.
Have you?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You've never had a medical test?
Oh, a little bit. I mean, I'm pretty healthy for the most part. I broke my leg a couple months ago.
Anytime you have a medical test and you have to wait, like, it is not fun.
Yeah.
Jade Roberts said,
"Oh, my buddy Robbie Bro just joined. Hey, Robbie Bro, big shout out to Robbie Bro, my man. Now, I probably will butcher the numbers here. And if Robbie Bro goes over from my watch party over to the World of Great podcast and jumps in here, he can actually tell us, 6 viewers, 19 more, and you take your shirt off. Anyway.
I'm getting hot, too, so we need people getting. I want to take my shirt off.
Yeah, and Hardy, who's in his lap, wants that, too. Robbie Bro started as a mature student at Okanagan College, I believe, in computer systems, I believe is the course that he was taking. Started as a mature student, okay? I believe there were 40 or maybe might even been 80 mature students who started their program however many years ago. Yeah. He's the only one to finish it.
How many immature students started?
Oh, all of them. They all started. No, but he's the only mature student to finish.
That's amazing. What was the course, sorry?
It was through a computer systems course.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for him.
I don't know if it's systems analyst or whatever he is. And he just yesterday,
woo!
Yeah, I know. Robbie Bro. Well done, buddy. Yeah, fist bump to Robbie Bro. Shout out to Robbie Bro.
So,
anyway.
Sorry, just totally off topic.
Yeah.
Jade Roberts heard the vacuum like right beside us. Said she's vacuuming the door behind you. She's like passive aggressive because you don't clean up enough. Maybe.
It's not my house.
Actually, okay. Quick story.
It's such an easy win.
So
it's such an easy win.
I closed the gym on like Wednesday, I believe. So like 9 o'clock when I get home, I decide I'm going to start cleaning. I put my Beats headphones in so I can have music. I put Jen's cast iron pan in the sink. No soap. Never soap with a cast iron pan. I just go to soak it. So clean her pan for her, and I start cleaning.
It absorbs the soap, and you'll see it in the food. Otherwise,
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I just know that's the rule because she'll kill me video. And so I'm filling the sink, and then I go and clean 2 other rooms. Can't hear shit because I got the Beats headphones in. Flood my kitchen.
Shut up.
Like a senior.
Really?
Oh, it's bad. Because I couldn't hear shit. Because you could hear it if I did. You would hear.
Did you put the milk in the cupboard and the cereal in the fridge too? Did you do that too? No.
Fuck, man.
Let's talk about closing the gym. When you close the gym, have you ever thought about closing the gym and then having a bunch of friends over and having a dance party inside the gym?
I actually can't talk about that. Yeah, fine.
That's something my brother would do.
The problem is like you can't shut off all the lights, so people would definitely see us having a dance.
That's the whole point. And then suddenly on YouTube the next day, or Kelowna Now is outside. Kent Mulgat's got something interesting is going on inside of the YMCA downtown.
Yeah, our insurance only.
It appears that there's a dance party happening. So. And then he comes up, and then we invite Kent Mulgat to the dance party. And
then we do a watch party on the dance party.
See?
It's a watch party dance party.
See? I guarantee you'd be taking your shirt off there.
Yeah, Kathy Kemp would probably watch right away because we'd just be dancing.
She'd be watching
we had
anyway.
7 people watching. We used to get like 14. I feel like we're getting worse at this show.
I don't think we had 14.
We've had 14 before.
You know what? I think Lisa Marie brings those 14. When Lisa Marie watches
today,
a screaming larvae pulled from her body
today,
new life. Well, no, she's technically not due, I believe, until the 14th, but she's got a pull. I mean, she's looking like she's gonna pop earlier and feeling like she's gonna pop and wishing she's gonna pop earlier. So shout out to Lisa Marie, our friend. The Real Deal TV with Lisa Marie and friends, and so she's about to have a child. But I just I love the idea of us talking about mental illness and getting it out there and going through some of these little stigmas. You know what it was? That was the one that seemed to kind of it went around a lot, and people kind of started talking about it, and there was awareness happening and self-esteem stuff, like peer pressure stuff. That was the stuff when I was growing up that and it's not mental illness, but I feel like mental illness might be the new version of kind of those things.
So I have a couple more points to this. One thing
You made Kathy laugh.
with what?
Yeah, just I don't know.
One thing I think with my generation, I know at least for me, is a lot of childhood issues and traumas were just never talked about, right?
Mhm.
Like I went through my issues that I've talked about on this show before,
Mhm.
and it was just something that was just never talked about. A lot of things just I don't think our parents had the tools.
No,
and,
definitely
and
not.
stigmas were still very like rampant,
Yeah.
whatever. And I just don't think, and I think the other thing with mental health now is relative poverty is a big issue. And this is a term I first heard reading Peter Joseph's book.
Relative poverty?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
reading Peter Joseph's book. So there's like poverty. There's adverse poverty. Is that what we call it? When people can't afford to survive, right? Or struggle to survive. But there's also relative poverty. So that's the inability to participate in society, right? So,
Gotcha.
and this causes a lot of mental illness. So say I do have a job that pays a living wage, so I can afford my mid-range car, I can afford my rent, maybe I can even have a little, maybe even pay for a kid or two to make it through school.
Yep.
But I can't afford to do anything else. I can't go out on a boat. I can't go to a restaurant. I can't go to the movies. I can't participate in all these things. And like, I understand first world problems. And for someone like myself, like it's different because I have a perspective of the world where I don't necessarily involve myself in the material swirl of what I'm supposed to have. But we breed a culture of consumption and want. And I go, oh, just be grateful for what you have. Okay, well, we're breeding a culture of people that think they need to be at a certain standard, especially when you look at social media and Instagram and these things where you're only seeing people's highlight reels. And then when your life isn't anywhere near that, it causes a lot of mental illness, and a lot of people become very depressed and suicidal.
If they don't know how to deal with that, and if they haven't learned how to cope. I mean, it's a new world, really. My brother and I was just looking at my Facebook before I used to start the watch party, actually, and it said watch party.
You can't not do it when you say watch party.
Shout out to the watch party. Parties. You got a watch party. I got one. Shout out to the watch parties. And my brother and I are celebrating 12 years of friendship on Facebook. My brother was the one who introduced me to Facebook. He's the one that told me, hey, man, you should get on Facebook. My younger brother.
For all you young kids out there, there was a time where there was no Facebook.
No social media at all.
And then, you know what? There was a time.
I say that I like being part of the generation that straddles the fact that I remember equally that there was no internet versus times where I remember equally that there were internet. And it's pretty much
straddles.
I did say straddle. Yeah, I straddle. Especially, and not just in poker.
Straddle. For those of you wondering what a straddle is, when you play poker and you are next to the big blind in a cash game, before all the cards are dealt, you may steal the big blind by raising at least double what the big blind is. You make that blind bet and you now become the big blind. Depending on the game, you can do this continuously all the way around the entire table.
I want to play poker, and I want to play poker right now. I want to play some poker.
You know what you don't have to write? Questions for Dane tomorrow, because I did all that.
Dane Rupert, questions. That guy's got them. I've got the everyman questions, so I'll maybe try and throw in one or two, but Colin's going to be dictating this entire interview with him.
I'll be like your big brother.
My big...
That wasn't that funny.
It wasn't funny at all.
That was funny.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Especially because you look down at the...
Kathy Kemp keeping it real. So abuse is another thing that is spoken about now instead of being shoved under a rug. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely rises. It just it makes me really, really happy. I believe that everybody needs to be kept in check, and that includes genders, and that's both genders, by the way, for both for multiple
Can I
things.
also say,
however, I love the fact that abuse is being talked about now, like in a different way. Mental abuse, especially, not just physical abuse. I also
want to say, all these men that are complaining that it's tough for men in the world and now we're uncomfortable. Well, guess what? Maybe it's our fucking turn. All right. Like, I'm sorry.
I disagree with that entirely, but that's world of grace.
And I'm not saying I've been the most perfect male in the world. I grew up in a culture of very ignorant men. But I just feel like in certain situations, if men are a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe it's our fucking turn.
Maybe a little bit of uncomfortable is different though than what is happening to a lot of guys out there. If you look at the stats, about suicide,
Ooh, yeah, data.
3 out of 4 suicides are men.
Okay.
And part of that, if you think about it, okay, so you've got a guy now, because take out feminine power, and the rise of feminine power is an amazing thing. I support it. I'm excited about it, whatnot. But my whole thing is, as the feminine power rises, instead of the feminine power looking at the masculine and saying, okay, your turn now we're going to fuck you up the ass. In my opinion, as the feminine power rises, they're going to find a better way. They're going to find a different way. They're not just going to take the male actions and the male, the male dominance and just turn it on its head. It's going to be something new.
And it's you mean, and that's not necessarily two wrongs don't make a right. I get that.
That's right. And if you listen to certain feminists, so no, hold on, let me finish. So if you're a guy, because there's not just that's happening right now. What else is happening is stuff that we've talked about so many times, where right now, instead of 1 livable wage to buy a house, you need 2 livable wages and then some sometimes. Right. So you got a guy who's genetically imprinted in his DNA to support his family, to try and be that person to support their household. And now he's being told he's acted wrong, and you know what? Move over. Yeah, you're going to get laid off. You're going to get minimized, and other people are going to take these jobs, and you're not going to have enough money to support your family anymore. And by the way, shut the hell up, because you've been abusing women this whole time. When that guy is just trying literally to survive.
But I think this is what.
So to say too bad, so sad. No, I think that's taking too big of a paintbrush and putting it over too big of a problem.
Well, I'm glad
I think it's way more. I think it's way more diverse than that.
I'm glad you said that, because it's not what I meant by that. I just think are a little bit uncomfortable because they're not quite sure how to navigate like a conversation with a woman. Like, just because you have to take that extra second to go, oh, is this appropriate for me to say?
Absolutely.
And me having to think, oh, is this appropriate to say? Makes me uncomfortable. That I say too fucking bad.
Absolutely. Right? And anything that causes you to actually think before you speak, or reflect on your actions in the past. Versus, like, I mean, I've said this many, many, many times, and I'll say it again. You know what? I have stumbled forward. When I was in high school, and some of the actions that I took, some of the ways that maybe I treated not just women, but people, and the way I looked at things and stuff, I was an idiot.
Yeah, especially when we're younger, when we're under 25, before that prefrontal cortex is developed. We don't make the best decisions. But to your point, you're not saying, oh, men have to move over because women are taking your jobs. You're saying that we just, as an overall society, there is less and less men are somewhat genetically bred to take care of their significant other, take care of their family, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this can cause some mental health issues. But I do think as men, we need to learn that it's okay that our significant others either make more money or help support the family more.
Yeah.
Like this is where we talked about that PC culture, where we have this outrage, this expansion contraction. And I'm big on, I feel like there's a million things we could talk about where the answer is over time, expansion contraction, right? And we are in the outrage time right now.
Oh,
and it's
100%.
not just the
gender dynamic. No. It's everything.
It's everything. And it's Trump is a big accelerator of this. Like, politics are a big accelerator of this. And we're in this massive information world now, where everything is just, you can just see all these different perspectives, and it's just blown up in our faces, and it's got to slowly dial itself back in.
People are looking for reasons to be outraged.
Correct.
And not only that, are they looking for people to be outraged, but they're looking to rise up and get a gathering of people so they can go and say, screw you to somebody.
Yeah. And I think even people that are good-hearted people that want to see progressive, positive change use the wrong outlet sometimes, right? Like I feel if you had to start to put me in spectrums of politics, I'm a fairly altruistic, progressive person for a lot of category on that left-wing progressive side that are missing the boat in a lot of little policy nuances, right?
I agree.
Because they're just, I had this argument on social media, gotta stop doing that, I keep saying this, with somebody that was talking about how Biden needs to be the primary nominee so that he can defeat Trump because Sanders just doesn't have the votes, and that's the only reason. And I just asked, I said, well, all I said, there's a bunch of arguments. All I said, well, what are Joe Biden's policies? Oh, well, he's going to defeat Trump. defeating Trump is not a policy.
No.
Oh, well, he supports working unions. You know who else supports working unions and every other working person and every vulnerable, impoverished person in America? Bernie Sanders.
Sure.
Like, you can't take, like, if it's not a different policy and then some from another candidate, is like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the rationale of the average American who goes, oh, well, we should vote for Biden because everybody is just going to probably vote for Biden because he's more likely to win. But then everyone feels that way. Like, everyone thinks Sanders is a better choice, but they're going to vote for Biden because they think everyone else should vote for Biden because he might win. And if you listen to Biden talk about policies of immigration, it's the exact same conversation Trump had about immigration. He just changes the word wall for fence. And so you want to have somebody to defeat Trump who has the same policies as Trump to be the solution for Trump because he packages it nicer and he says it nicer. Like, I don't understand.
I love the fascination that you have with American politics.
You know what?
We're a couple Canadian boys, just so you know. Just so for those who are just joining in for the first time, we are a couple Canadian boys, but there's a fascination.
It's because I'm not that bright and I can't do both. I can't research both.
I don't know, man. I think it's almost it's a neat perspective though, because we get to see what's happening down across the border without actually seeing the people all the time talking about it. And like, here's the thing that I think, okay, when I look at Donald Trump, here's a perspective from a Canadian boy when it comes to Donald Trump. I watch Colbert almost every night, and the reason I do is because I worship David Letterman, and when Letterman left, I had a hard time going to any other show, and the Late Show kept going, and it was Colbert, and so I watch him, and he's also clever, and he's awesome, he's smart, but he has made a career out of kind of flambeing any gaffe that Trump makes. But here's the thing: so Trump, and I mean, again, Trump contradicts himself multiple times in his speech, and he goes back, and he, you know, it's so fun to watch him, you know, throw up footage of him saying the exact opposite thing that he says at one of these rallies, right? Here's the thing that I keep thinking about, though. Look at the friggin' rally. You've got a rally with 25,000 people watching.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a rally with, like, he takes out, like, you know, we're in the promotion business. You know, you talk about putting on a wrestling event or whatever, where you got, you know, 10,000 people coming out and watching it. That's like, whoa, this guy can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And 25,000 people mobilized to support him, and as he's saying these things, contradicting himself, doing these things, people are clapping.
Yeah.
And that just, and I'm not trying to flambe anybody as I say that just fascinates me. It's like, holy cow. And a lot of these people even know that he's contradicting himself, and yet they're still going for it. And it's like, wow.
Cult of personality.
This
is a cult of personality. But
it's fascinating.
But you're right. He does. And this is the thing I don't think he gets enough credit for, is he has this weird, like, lizard-like perception of
why do you say lizard-like?
That part of the brain that's just the
reptilian brain.
The reptilian part of the brain that's just like me, and it's just like literally looking at different ways to strategize its own game.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And I think I've heard somebody else use that for term when they're talking about Trump.
Yeah.
But he knows who he's talking to at all times, whether it's a show, whether it's a tweet, you know what I mean? Like, he knows his
calculated.
It's a calculated message to his audience, not to overall truth.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Speaking of Stephen Colbert, have you watched on Netflix My Cartoon President?
No.
Oh my God. I've seen it come up a million times. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I finally click on Stephen Colbert. Is one of the creators. Amazing.
Really?
It's so, like, stupid and over the top, but it's just a big parody of Trump. And it's got, like, Eric and Don Jr. in it.
Outstanding.
And they're like, there's an episode where they want to be his new spokespeople. And their rationale is because every time they are on TV, they make him look smarter. And it's just so good. And they're talking about how nobody even brings it up, where they're like, we're not here to talk about Russia. Like, okay, about Russia.
Sure,
like,
of course they do.
Eric, you're talking about it.
Of course
like,
they are.
Dad, we messed up. You made this too hard. You're stupid. So good.
Okay, so here's the thing.
So good. Kyle Sebastian's watching. Let's get good at this.
Let's get really good at this. Kyle Sebastian, if you just joined us, Colin is taking off his shirt if we get to 25 live views. So if you want to tell all your fans to jump on board here.
19 more people.
45, I take my shirt off, and 205, Colin gets naked.
We'll never get to 45.
We'll never get to 205. We'll never get to 45. And if we get to 25...
At 45, Chisholm takes off a shirt. Once we get closer to about like 65, he'll start to put clothes back on.
Thank
that's
God.
how it works.
Oh man, that takes us to the next
and then
level. That's the Yeah, that is the trailer that will take us to 205 is when I start putting clothes back on.
That's how we're gonna do
right
it
there. No, but you've got this other side that they're monetizing. They're looking at what they perceive as stupidity and their ways to create writing and entertainment and all that sort of stuff. So they're full blown. Let's capitalize on this.
Yeah.
And they create a cartoon.
No pun intended.
See, no pun intended. And then they capitalize on the fact that that's happening. And to me, someone told me once that the Roman Empire, and I don't know how true this is, but the Roman Empire, when it fell, the Roman Empire is the greatest, modern day
Empire.
imperialistic society that we've ever seen, that the earth has ever seen, that we can talk about in modern times. And someone had said to me, they told me, and I don't know how true this is, but I listened to it. It made some sense that when the Roman Empire was about to fall, all they really talked about was food and sex and decadence and the pleasures of life and things. And I look at the time that America is in right now and the things that are that the general populace is talking about. And I mean, it's different than even my parents' generation growing up. The baby boomers who are the kids of the World War II veterans. Some of them were part of Vietnam, and some of these very, very serious issues that people kind of needed to be a part of and have a say in. And I'm looking at that going, and I don't want to sound like a scared older person saying, "Oh, the new generation doesn't care about what's going on out there." But I think we as a whole populace doesn't care enough, and what has caused that is this chaos to and even decay maybe a little bit is now, I mean, so yeah, I look at this and go, oh, this is a serious thing. And I believe that isn't one that takes us back to a place where we just got to bust our ass and work hard and be all blue collar again, because I think that we're evolving right now. Talking about mental illness, to me, is a place in society where we are taking our consciousness to the next level as a populace. And if we go back 20 or 30 years, right, that's all going to be lost. So I just think that I have hope and I have optimism that we'll be able to kind of dial it back, and the correction that does happen, and contraction, whatever that is, I use correction because it's a term we use in the financial world, but as that does happen, when it does happen, I hope that it doesn't mean that we lose society as a whole, because I believe in the next couple of years, in the next decade, technology is going to take us to that next level where a lot of these things become irrelevant. I can't wait for a lot of the chaos that's going on to become irrelevant.
It'll be interesting.
There's my that's the flow going right there.
Kyle's shirt is already off.
Two breaths. No, it's not.
Kyle's shirt is already off.
Kyle's shirt is already off. Oh man.
Whatever that does for you, ladies.
If he's online,
gentlemen,
all the views are going to him right now. All the views.
I do get what you're saying, but if, as someone that, you're right, I have followed American politics more than anything, there is a bit of a wave of younger people coming out and voting. If you look at candidates or politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she had a huge younger following that came out and voted. If you look at
President Obama was like that in 2008.
If you look at Bernie Sanders in his primary in 2016, a lot of younger voters, and I think we're going to see that with these primaries as well. And I think if those younger voters don't come out, Bernie Sanders is going to have a harder time because he has a very large base of younger voters.
And hey, both Democratic and like in the Republican Party, Trump's your guy. Okay, whatever. I don't know if he's going to have a challenger or not. Democratic Party, cut out the bullshit, please. Don't you hear these stories about how Hillary got elected and some of the backdoor deals that were done, backroom deals that were done to get her. Let's make it fair. Let's have the fairest, the candidate that the Democratic Party wants to see represent them.
It's hard,
whoever it is, whether it's someone who's young and new or someone who's established and old, whatever it is. I'm not supporting anybody, but please, I implore you from your friend, the Canadian from the North, who you'll never, ever see this, but I'm going to throw it out to the ether, to the universe anyway. Please just be fair in who you bring forth to try and take on Trump. Please, whoever that is, don't do it. Don't do it in a corrupt way, please.
I feel like it's hard though with the two candidates leading in the polls, one being a donor class candidate and one being a non-donor class. And I think that's where a lot of the corruption comes in, because these donors are like, fuck that, you're not having this. And I was talking to Jen about this. When you have non-PAC funded candidates like a Bernie Sanders and he nudging different ways of getting donations for the candidate for the general,
Mhm.
which is a little scary. But when you look at some of these candidates that don't take corporate PAC money and the ones that do, what are we really like? What is the difference in who they're going to advocate for?
Yeah.
Because if I have a millionaire donors that are funding me, I kind of have to advocate for millionaire donors. If I have nothing but small donations from my constituent, am I going to advocate for my constituents? And
Yeah.
what is the fucking job of these politicians? To advocate for your constituents.
Yes.
So in my very humble opinion, the number one thing that needs to be done in these elections is we need to get big money out of politics.
Well,
And I find that it's a really
absolutely.
hard thing to argue against.
Yeah.
But try, please.
Well, I personally think that is the case as well, especially when you consider money used to be a thing where it took money to get the message out there. Well, the internet has completely changed that. It's very, very easy to get the messages, the gaffes, the things that these candidates are doing out there for people to watch and to make their own decisions. The problem is you've now also got, it's not just money, but it's also companies, again, after the money, but companies who take sides. Lobby is now not biased. I remember when news reports always across the board used to be, this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, like if it's a big financial thing or whatever, you call in an analyst to kind of
explain,
dumb down, the complexities of what just happened in a specific area. Now they've blurred that line so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, even to call something news, you take away the fifth estate, the idea of freedom of the press. Well, freedom of the press, in my opinion, the reason that they're going to lose freedom of the press and that could potentially go down is because it's going to become so twisted that it's not even what the press is. Look at the word news. What the word new from someone who's 6 or 7 years old compared to when we were 6 or 7 years old. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
It's an opinion of what happened by this person. It's this person's opinion. Well, news and opinion used to be both very different things from each other.
And now they're very convoluted and becoming the same thing. And it's not about getting news out there. It's about finding ways to get your opinion out there. And it's really hard to get your stuff out there, to get your content out there. And trust me, we know, we're trying. The World of Gray has its own group on YouTube. You can look up World of Gray podcast on YouTube. You can look up World of Gray podcast on Facebook. Please like and share this page.
Yeah.
In a society divided by black and white arguments, us two right here sitting in front are here to explore
the world of gray.
Peace.
Love. Later, yo.
Facebook gets the extra content.
Facebook gets extra content.